130. Big Korean number source. howtostudykorean.com. Below is a list of vocabularies to be used in this lesson. Nouns.
수단,
Means, way, measure.
복리,
Means compound interest.
경고,
Means warning, caution.
면적,
Means area, surface area.
주행,
Means the running of a car.
주행거리,
Means mileage on a cars.
위성,
Means satellite or a moon of a planet.
은하,
Means galaxy.
은하수,
Means Milky Way galaxy.
우주,
Means space, the universe.
우주인,
Means astronaut.
모래,
Means sand.
모래시계,
Means hourglass.
모래알,
Means a grain of sand.
거리계,
Means some sort of distance measurer.
대기업,
Means large companies.
소득공제,
Means tax deduction.
해안가,
Means area around the waterfront. Verbs.
공제하다,
Means to deduct.
침입하다,
Means to trespass, to invade, to break in. Adverbs and other words.
억,
Means 100 million.
조,
Means 1 trillion.
경,
Means 10 quadrillion.
대략,
Means roughly. Introduction. In Lesson 10, you first learned how to use numbers in Korean. That information was crucial in your ability to count different things in Korean like things, events, minutes, hours, days, months, cars and many other things. When numbers get bigger, they get more complicated. These complicated numbers weren't integral to your early understanding of Korean, but they are important. In this lesson, I would like to introduce larger Korean numbers. Let's get started. Large Korean numbers. In Lesson 10, you learned that there are two sets of numbers, pure Korean numbers and Sino-Korean, Chinese, numbers. In this lesson, we are going to be talking about large numbers, that is, numbers over 10,000. In this lesson, we don't need to bother with pure Korean numbers because, for practical purposes, they aren't used much over 60 or 70. Large Sino-Korean numbers are confusing. For English speakers, most of this confusion stems from the fact that 10,000 inches has its own word in Korean. Let me explain. There is a word for 1 in Korean and English. It is
1,
and 1 respectively. There is a word for 10 in Korean and English. It is
10,
and 10 respectively. There is a word for 100 in Korean and English. It
100,
and 100 respectively. There is a word for 1,000 inches in Korean and English. It is
1000,
and 1,000 respectively. There is a word for 10,000 inches in Korean.
만,
But there is not a separate word for this in English. We just use the previous denomination thousand with 10 to say 10,000. When writing out Sino-Korean numbers, everything under 10,000 is contained in one word. For example, note that I will be spelling out numbers using words in this lesson. With big numbers, numerals would most likely be used in real life. However, I am spelling out these number words for you so you can understand how to say them. 1 equals
1, 12, 12, 123, 123, 1234, 1234.
in English. We count in units of thousands until we reach 1 million. For example, 1,000 equals 1,000, 2,000 equals 2,000, 45,000 equals 45,000, 134,000 equals 134,000, 999,000 equals 999,000. In Korean, they count thousands only until they reach 10,000. For example, 1,000 equals
1000, 2000 equal 2000, 9000 equal 9000, 9999 equal 9999.
Once they reach 10,000, the word
만,
is used. 10,000 equals.
만,
Spacing between large numerals is done in units of 10,000. Now that we are going to a number larger than 9,999, the word
만,
should be placed before the rest of the numbers in a separate word. A simple way to think of it is that a space comes after 4 Arabic numbers. For example, 12,345 equals
12,345.
Just like we count thousands, Korean people count 10,000s. This is very hard for English speakers to wrap their heads around. For example, 120,000 equals.
12만.
Literally means 12 10,000s. 190,000 equals.
19만.
Literally means 19 10,000s. Whatever digits come after the 10,000 unit, that is, after the word
만.
in the word, there should be a space followed by the remaining part of the number, if necessary. For example, 123,456 equals.
123,456.
We can continue to count 10,000s all the way to 9,999 10,000s. For example, 1,234,567 equals.
123,457.
Notice that the first word is 123 10,000s. 12,345,678 equals.
1234,578.
Notice that the first word is 1,234 10,000s. 53,565,453 equals.
5,356,453.
Notice that the first word is 5,356 10,000s. 99,999,999 equals.
9,999,999.
Notice that the first word is 9,999 10,000s. Remember, spacing in numerals is done in units of 10,000. Now that we have reached 9,999 10,000s, we create another space in our word. The number is used to refer to 10,000 10,000s. 10,000 10,000s is just a difficult way of saying 100 million inches. 100 million. For example, 100 million equals.
1억.
Just a quick note. 10 is referred to as.
10, 100,
Is referred to as.
100, 1000,
Is referred to as.
1000, 만,
Is referred to as.
만. However, 1억.
Is referred to as.
1억.
The numbers above do not have
1,
included in their pronunciation. However, when talking about one, you should say.
1억.
Let's make more complicated numbers using
1억 2,345만 6,789, 1억 2,345만 6,789, 1억 4,354만 9,523, 1억 4,354만 9,523.
adding more numerals to is done just like it was done with.
만,
That is, the words
1000, 100,
and
10.
tell us how many units of 100 million we have. For example, 1,234,567,891 equals.
12억 3,456만 7,891.
Notice that the first word is 12 100 millions. 12,345,678,912 equals.
123억 4,567만 8,912.
Notice that the first word is 123 100 millions. 123,456,789,123 equals.
1234억 5,678만 9,123.
Notice that the first word is 1,234 100 millions. 999,999,999,999 equals.
9,999억 9,999만 9,999.
Notice that the first word is 9,999 100 millions. Remember, spacing in numerals is done in units of 10,000. Now that we have reached 9,999 100 millions, we create another space in our word. The number
2
is used to refer to 10,100 millions. 10,100 millions is just a difficult way of saying 1 trillion inches. 1 trillion. For example, 1 trillion equals.
1조.
Let's make more complicated numbers using
조. 1조 2,345억 6,789만 1,234. 1조 2,345억 6,789만 1,234. 3조 5,434억 5,463만 2,455. 3조 5,434억 5,463만 2,455.
adding more numerals to
조.
is done just like it was done with
만,
an. That is, the words
천, 백,
an.
십.
Tell us how many units of 1 trillion we have. For example, 12,345,678,912,345 equals
12조 3,456억 7,891만 2,345.
Notice that the first word is 12 trillions, 123,456,789,123,456 equals
123조 4,567억 8,912만 3,456.
Notice that the first word is 123 trillions, 1, 234, 567, 891, 234, 567 equals
1234조 5,678억 9,123만 4,567.
Notice that the first word is 1,000, 234 trillions, 9, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999 equals
9,999조 9,999억 9,999만 9,999.
Notice that the first word is 9,000, 999 trillions, after
만, 억,
an.
조,
The next unit is
경,
represents 10,000 trillions, 1.
경,
Represents 10 quadrillions. It is rare to come across
경,
in everyday life, but it follows the same pattern as
만, 억,
an,
조,
in that 9,999 units of 10 quadrillions can be placed before
경,
the next unit needs to be used. For example, 999, 900, 000, 000, 000, 000, 000 equals.
9,999경,
You might be thinking that even
조,
would be uncommon in Korean. In English, it is quite rare that we talk about things in the trillions. However, the Korean currency, the
원,
is roughly 1,000, one with the American dollar. Therefore, when talking about currency, it can be more common than you think. For example, note, officially,
원,
should be separated from the numeral or word when writing it down, as shown below. Most Korean people do not include the space, and therefore it can be seen as acceptable to not include it. 1,000
원천원,
is roughly equivalent to $1 and can buy a can of pop. 10,000
원만원,
is roughly equivalent to $10 and can buy a cheap meal. 100,000
원십만원,
is roughly equivalent to $100 and can buy a cheap cell phone. 1,000,000
원백만원,
is roughly equivalent to $1,000 and can buy a nice computer. 10,000,000
원천만원,
is roughly equivalent to $10,000 can buy a cheap car. 100,000,000
원일억원,
is roughly equivalent to $100,000 and can be a big down payment on a house. 1,000,000,000
원십억원,
is roughly equivalent to $1 million and can buy an apartment on the Han River in Seoul. 10,000,000,000
원백억원,
is roughly equivalent to $10 million and is the amount of money the top celebrities or athletes make in a year. 100 billion
원천억원,
is roughly equivalent to $100 million and might represent the revenue of a massive company. 1 trillion
원일조원,
is roughly equivalent to $1 billion. $1 billion. It might be rare to talk about billions of dollars, but when talking about government debts and spending, figures often fall into the billions of dollars. Therefore, it is common to see
조,
being used in forms of news when reporting about government spending. Below are many other examples of using big numbers using the vocabulary from this lesson.
우주 나이는 대략 130억 살이에요.
The age of the universe is roughly 13 billion years.
은하수에 1,000억 개 넘게 행성이 있어요.
There are more than 100 billion planets in the Milky Way galaxy.
주행 거리계가 100만 킬로를 넘었어요.
The odometer just went over 1 million kilometers.
캐나다 면적은 거의 1,000만 킬로미터요.
Canada's land area is almost 10 million square kilometers.
한 해변에 모래알 10조 개 정도가 있어요.
There are roughly 10 trillion grains of sand on one beach.
거기에 침입하면 100만 원 벌금을 내야 된다고 경고에 쓰여 있어요.
There is a warning that says there is a fine of 1 million won if you trespass break in there.
그렇게 많은 돈을 투자하면 1년에 복리로 1억 원을 벌 수 있어요.
If you invest that much money, in 1 year you can make 100 million won from compound interest in a year.
해안가에서 살고 싶은데 거기 집값은 10억 원이 넘어서 못 살 것 같아요.
I want to live on the waterfront, but the price of houses there is over 1 billion won, so guess I can't live there.
정부가 이 문제를 해결할 수 있는 수단을 찾기 위해 2억 원을 쓸 거예요.
The government will spend 200 million won to find a way to solve this problem.
삼성, 롯데 같은 대기업은 1년에 10억 원 정도를 소득공제로 받을 수 있어요.
Large companies like Samsung and Lotte get tax deductions of about 1 billion won in a year. That's it for this lesson. For more info, please visit howtostudykorean.com.